Hello everyone, photographer Andredesignz here with a new retouch video. Alright, so today we'll be retouching this image as you can see on my screen. I did this photo shoot early this year in studio, and what you're seeing right here is actually a disc, like a DVD disc. I just put it right there and just shoot the photo. I was trying to be creative a little bit in the studio. Alright, so this what you're seeing right now is camera raw. It's version 11.1, and I was using a Nikon D750 for this photo shoot. And I have recently got the Nikon Z6. You can watch that video. That's my previous video. You can check the card in the description and check the card right there, or check the link in the description for that video. Alright, so let's start with the editing. So right now I'm in camera raw. There's no need for me to use camera right now, so I'm just going to open the image in Photoshop. You can check the description also for the link to download this image to edit along with me. And please remember not to post these images when you edit them. If you'd like to share what you've done, just send me an email and I will, review it basically. So please don't post the images, just use them to practice, and that's it. Alright, so let's get right ahead with the editing. Alright, so before we start the editing, this image, the aperture I was actually using is 1.7, 7.1 actually. Let me just go to the go file, file, and then info. Good. So basically I was shooting at I was using 50mm, is the 1.8 lens, and I was shooting at 7.1. ISO was at 80. You should always ensure to keep your ISO low when you're shooting in studio, and for the shutter it was 1/60 of a second. Alright, so yeah, that's done. Alright, so the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come over to my action panel here. You can download this panel using the link in the description as well. So I'm gonna go with a 16-bit because I was shooting raw, and it's a 16-bit image once you're shooting raw. For the radius, I'm gonna stay at 6.4. You can adjust it to your image, and then I'm going to press B on my keyboard. Well, no, I'm gonna press M on my keyboard for the mixer brush, because that's the shortcut that I use for my mixer brush. Then I'm gonna go down to the low frequency layer here, and then I'm gonna start to paint on the skin. But please ensure that you unclick the sample all layers, because if this is checked, it might not work properly. And ensure that you clear your brush, and your wetness should be at 2%. Alright, so what we're going to start doing now is to mix the image. So I'm going to start with this lighted area here, and mixing the image is basically flattening the image. So when you're doing it, just take your time and just flatten the image a little bit. I'm going over to the dark area, so you're not going to go from the light area to the dark area. You're going to just do the lighted area, then stop, come over to the dark area. So you don't want to mix everything together. However, sometimes you may have to do that to blend the image out a little bit, but you just have to be careful and just watch what you're doing when you're making the when you're mixing. Alright, so let's look at the before and after for this so far. So that's the before, and that's the after. And that's just simple mixing. Alright, so I'm gonna mix the nose bridge right here as well. So right here, let's look at the before and after for that one as well. So before and after. So it's that simple. Alright, so let's do right here. And then mixing it also flattens the pimple on the skin. So it's always good to do the mixing first, and then you clean up after. Alright, so we're gonna do her hand. So we're gonna do right here. I'm gonna try my best not to mix her what's this, tattoo right there. Alright, because we don't want to soften that at all. We don't want to blend it at all. We don't want to alright, so I'm gonna do under the chest right here, well, under her neck. Alright, here as well. Alright, normally in a studio, well, I'm not sure about anybody else, but I personally I don't like doing headshots using like a 50 millimeter lens. It's either a 70-200 lens or a 85 millimeter lens, but I guess that anything works better for you, but it's best to use like a portrait lens for headshots in studio. But I do use my 50 millimeter in studio to do full body shots or half a body shots, and my 70 my 24 to 70 to do like you know, a really wide full body shot in studio. All right, so what we're gonna do now, I think I'm finished with let me just do right here as well. But I think I'm finished with doing the mixing. So I'm gonna go up to the top here to the high frequency layer, and then I'm gonna press S on my keyboard for the clone stamp. The clone stamp is right here, and then I'm gonna use the bracket on the keyboard. I'm using the right bracket right now on the keyboard to get the brush bigger, and then I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit. All right, and then I'm just gonna use Alt on the keyboard to sample this area, and then I'm gonna paint on the pimple. So I'm gonna do that. So sorry. Alright, so the clone stamp is a tool I use to clean up the skin. There are times I will use the patch tool, but in some cases, you know, I will use a patch tool, but I rather use the clone stamp tool. I do not use the healing brush or the spot healing brush. I don't like using them actually, but if it works for you, it works for you. But I just believe that the clone stamp works better for me, so that's why I use it. So let's look at the before and after for the clone stamp so far. Alright, that's actually before and after for everything, but you should see the difference if you're looking at the screen. Alright, so if you're following along with me, just try to do the exact same thing that I do, and you'll get the same result. But not everyone will be able to, you know, do it exactly like me. So just do it how you feel comfortable. I mean, I'm basically just sharing how I edit my photos, and if you try to do it, you know, just the same how just as how I do it, and it helps you, that's good. But if you want to just watch what I do and just create your own style of editing, you can do that as well. So yeah, so I'm gonna be doing some videos about the camera settings and stuff like that, so most of you guys can understand when you should actually use a certain setting in studio or outdoor. So I'm gonna work on that as well. I've been so busy, so I haven't got a chance to do any of those videos, but guys, I promise you, I'm coming with a lot of behind the scene videos soon. I'm working on it, and most of those videos I'm going to be using I'm going to be shooting with the Nikon Z6 camera for most of those videos, because I want to get familiar with that camera, because it's a little bit different from what I'm used to. So yeah, so I'm still learning that camera. First time shooting mirrorless cameras, and it's a little bit different. Sometimes I think that the DSLR is better or faster, because, you know, it's what I'm used to. So I'm just trying to get used to using the mirrorless camera. So yeah, all right, so before and after for everything. That's it so far. All right, so the next step now is to I don't really think I need to clean the eyes, but I can still do some more cleaning up the skin right here. I'm seeing some pimples right here, so let me just do that. Good. Yeah, so sometimes it's good to just zoom way into your image, or zoom right into your image, and you have to zoom right into your image and make some additional adjustments to the image itself, removing stuff. Alright. Don't think I need to do anything more. So you see, with doing frequent separation and using the mixer brush, you see that we still have detail in the skin. Right here kind of look, not sure what's happening right here. I'll try to fix it. Alright, that looks better. That looks good. Alright, so the next step now is to color the image a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to, you know what? No, I'm not going to color the image yet. I'm going to apply dodge and burn first. So I'm going to go up right here to the dodge and burn layer. And this is the, as if you've been watching my videos, I mean, you know, this is how I actually edit. I clean the skin first. Well, no, I flatten the skin first, clean the skin after, then apply a dodge and burn, and then I color the image. Yeah, that's the last step. Alright, so I'm going to go down here to the burn. Let's pull this out a little bit more. So burn. I'm going to press B on the keyboard for the brush, and I'm using a soft brush, a soft round brush. And then I'm just going to come to the flow, and I'm going to go at 1% for the flow. And then just click right there. And then I'm going to ensure that my foreground is white. And then I'm going to mix the dark areas. No, not mix. I'm going to brush the dark areas. So like for right here, I'm just going to do that. Let's look at the before and after for that. See that? Good. We don't need anything else. That's it. Because you don't want to apply too much dodge and burning on the model's skin, because you don't want it to look fake. So this area is dark already, so I'm just going to just apply a little dark to it. Good. So I'm basically shaping the face of the model. All right. This area, normally this area would be, you'd have a little bit more light there. So I'm just going to go up to the dodge, and then I'm just going to lighten this area here. Just going to match it with this highlight here. So let's look at before and after for that. Before and after. Good. Normally the nose bridge, you have light on it as well. I'm going to add light to it, but when I took the image, we barely had light there, but that's fine. If you add the light, if you're ever editing your images and you add light somewhere where light should be and it doesn't look good, you just add, you know, you add the darkness to it then, if that's what it was when you were actually doing the shoot, you know. So because I know that you should actually have light here, I'm actually adding the light there. All right, so I'm going to go to the dark layer again, which is the burn, and I'm going to just burn right here. Let's look at it before and after for that. Good. I'm going to go back to the dodge, and I'm just going to dodge right here. And in makeup they call this highlighting. That's the dodge, highlighting, and then the contour would be the dark area, and that would be the burn. Then you darken the area. All right. For the chin, normally chin you'd add light to the chin, and then under the chin you'd add dark, because you want the lip to look full. So you'd add some burn right there. All right. So we're gonna go back to the dodge again. I'm gonna add some light here. Right here, I think I can add some light here as well. Just gonna add it right there. Good. Right here, I'm gonna add some dodge. So I'm basically shaping the face. And then here, I'm gonna add some light there. Even though we didn't have any light there, I'm just still gonna add light there. That looks okay. Let's look at it before and after. Before, after, before, after. So I actually changed the lighting direction by using dodge and burn. For her hand, I'm just gonna add light right here a little bit. Right here, just a little bit. Sometimes you're not going to. Sometimes you're just gonna just do this with the brush. And that's it. That's it. Over time you'll catch it. Over time you'll understand when to do that and stuff like that. So you don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to do this and when to do this. I mean, after shooting for a period of time and watching a lot of videos and retouching, you will get it. So please don't be frustrated. when you're doing your editing. Just take your time and you will get it eventually. I can remember back in the days when I started retouching, I used to, always wish that I could retouch pretty fast and, get over with editing the images, because it's a lot of work and I have a lot of images to retouch. So what I did, or what I'm doing now, is to just retouch a small amount of images when I'm providing my packages to clients, because I don't want to have a lot of work and then be thinking about it. They say, hey, I have a lot of editing to do and stuff like that. So I try to minimize the amount of images I provide them with and ensure whatever I'm charging them, it makes sense. So you have to work on that as well. So for me, I don't really care how many images I have to work on, because I love editing. I love doing photography. And if you don't love it, you're going to get frustrated when you cannot get to do certain things. But just don't be frustrated when you're editing. If you're not getting something, it's because you're not doing it correctly. And if you're watching a tutorial and you can't figure out how the person did whatever they did, just message them, ask them how they did it. If they do not respond, just go back and watch the video and just take your time and go through it. I mean, how I actually learned to retouch, I watch a lot of retouch videos, and from that I create my own style, and that's what you have to do. Alright, so back to the editing. Alright, so I think I want to lighten her eyes a little bit, so I'm gonna come here to where it says clean teeth and eyes, and then my brush, I'm gonna change the flow to about 30, and then I'm gonna do this and this little white spot right here, and that. Good. Alright, good. So that's it. Alright, there's one more thing I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna still work on cleaning some part of the skin. Well, not the skin. I'm gonna work on cleaning, removing the hair from the eye, but I don't want to use frequent separation for that. So I'm gonna hold on Control Shift Alt Delete, create a new layer. I'm gonna create one more layer, so in case I mess up, I can always delete this one, because I don't like using smart objects when I'm editing. Alright, so I'm gonna go to the I'm gonna press J on the keyboard for the patch tool, and then I'm gonna just try to remove this. Alright, that looks good. Alright, that looks perfect. Right here as well. Sometimes you have to go over the, a certain section more than one time, because that's how you have to do it for it to look natural. I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna remove this. I mean, you don't necessarily have to use the patch tool to do this. You can use any tool you want to use that has to do with removing stuff, but I'm just using the tools that I'm comfortable with. Alright, so the next step now is to, alright, I notice on her hand it's kind of yellow. I want to fix this, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new layer from this same one here, so Control J, and then I'm going to go to Camera Raw. You can come here to for Camera Raw, and then what we're going to do, I'm going to try to get rid of the yellow from her hand, so I'm going to try to use this first. Alright, this looks good. So this is the temperature, so I'm just getting rid of the yellow. I'm going to add some blacks to it. That looks good, so I'm just going to click OK, and then that decreased the yellow. So I'm going to create a mask, so I'm going to hold on Control on the keyboard and then click this mask option right here. Actually no, it's going to be Alt and hold on, and then it gives you back what you had before. Notice this is black and the foreground is white, so it will work perfectly. So I'm going to go to the brush, and then I'm going to put this at 100%, and then I'm gonna get it a little bit bigger using the bracket on the keyboard, and then I'm gonna paint. Alright, so that doesn't, alright, that worked a little bit. We're going to bring in a little bit of the yellow back into the image, so that looks good. So before and after, before and after. Alright, so I'm comfortable with that. I'm going to color the image now, so I'm going to hold on Control Shift Alt E and to create a new layer. I didn't have to do this, but I'm just doing that. So I'm just going to come right here now, and then I'm going to select color balance, and then I'm going to go to the shadows, and then apply 5% of shadow right there, and then I'm going to come to the highlights, and then I'm going to apply 5 for the highlights as well. And then let me look at the before and after for that. Before and after, before and after, before and after. Alright, I'm going to add some clarity to the models here. So I'm going to do camera raw again. Control Shift A, camera raw. I'm not sure what's happening there. Let me just do Control Shift Alt E to create a new layer, and then I'm gonna Control Shift A for camera raw. It seems like that you cannot do camera raw when there's a layer here and not the image layer. So I'm gonna go to clarity, put some clarity in the models here, click OK, and then I'm gonna do the same thing again, Alt, and then click on the mask right there. And then with my brush at 100%, I'm just going to mix the clarity in. So look at the difference. Before and after. That looks really good. Alright, so let's look at before and after for everything. So I'm going to scroll down to the last image, the background image. I'm going to hold on Alt and click the eye. And that's the before. That's the after. That's the before. That's the after. So I think that's it. That is it for the image. There's nothing else I need to do. So I'm just going to merge everything. So to merge everything, you're going to hold on Control Shift E, and you merge everything. So normally what I would do, I would save this image, the original image. Just going to save it at 100%. Oh, it's 8. Okay. I'm going to save it to my desktop at 100%. Let's see what file size this is. 12 meg. Okay. And then for Instagram, what you're going to do is to go up to filter. Actually, no. You're going to go to file, and then go down to export, and then you're going to click on the option that says export save for web. For the width, you're going to go with 1080, and then you're just going to save. You could just say, you could have underscore Insta. Not sure what's happening to my keyboard. Underscore Instagram. Alright, good. And then you could just upload the image to your Instagram. That's it, basically. So as I said, we'll be having a lot of behind the scene videos coming soon. If you've learned anything from this video, you can just like it, share it. Remember to subscribe, turn on the notification bell for new videos. And that's it. That's it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.
Life is over, 'cause I start thinking again about our time.